Okay, Joel, so what's your most memorable part of Dachau that we saw yesterday?
Probably standing in like the incineration room or the gas chamber, just because it's always kind of like when you think of the Holocaust or when you think of all this stuff, because I've been being told it since I've been 2 years old. It's just more of a story, and you don't really think about, well, you do think about that it actually happened, but it just kind of takes that realness out of it. And then once you actually stand there and realize like this actually happened and people just like me went through this, and it just really put that whole realness into something that was always kind of felt a little bit more like a fairy tale almost, or like a story. It really put it in perspective, and it just hit me. It was like, whoa. And like it just kind of felt like when I was in there, time just kind of stopped for a second. It was just like I don't know, it was just kind of spooky. I think the best way to put it was
Yesterday.
Just like the size of it, like it was pretty shocking to see how many rows where the houses they lived in there actually was. Like there was only 2 built, but there's like 8 rows down, and they were as big as like maybe 3 houses.
Yeah.
It was just pretty shocking.
And do you remember how many people they said they fit inside?
No.
Like when it was crowded up to 2,000 people in one of those.
In each of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did it make you think about?
Just like the tragedy of it more, and that wasn't even like one of the biggest camps. Yeah.
Hard to conceptualize all the information we were dealing with at once, because it was quite a lot to process, and just the magnitude of it all, it was a little bit shocking to me. It was very eye-opening.
So what struck me was the awful stuff that these people had to go through. How like almost everything in the camp was designed to make them either uncomfortable or near death or dead. It was just simply it's just awful. I don't understand how there are people out there who can deny this. I mean, it's probably through willful denial. Just, oh God, it was so bad. All the awful stuff. Gas chambers and incinerators and barbed wire fences. Yes, I think that pretty much sums it up quite nicely.
All right, so Jackson, you actually interviewed a Holocaust survivor for your project. How did that knowledge prepare you for what we saw at Dachau?
Well, nothing really prepares you for what we witnessed. And even though it was so long ago, and it still sticks with you, like after interviewing the man that I interviewed who went from Dachau to a bunch of other different concentration camps, it stuck with me ever since. And I first met him plus 7 other Holocaust survivors from all the different concentration camps back in grade 8. And it's been with me every single day. And I've talked to many people between grade 8 and grade 11. And I've kept in touch with them with the Jewish Foundation. And it just sticks with you. Every time we talk about the Holocaust, everything that they've said to me, it just comes flooding back, especially the gate when you first enter Dachau, where it says work sets you free. And one thing that I heard a lot from the survivors was that they actually believed it, and everyone around them believed that work sets you free, so they worked very hard, and they did everything that they could to survive and please them until, I don't know when it was. It was a couple months in when they realized that the work will not set you free, that they will never be free again, and they will not be able to go back to their families. And so after all the stories that the survivor that I interviewed went through, he lost 18 relatives, never saw them again. He was the only one that actually survived. And in a way, it prepared me, everything that he said, because I knew what I was going into when I first entered the gates. Mm-hmm. But it hit me a lot harder than I thought it was going to, even after hearing all the stories. Because the way I heard it was horrific enough, but when you're really there and you're really present and you're in the barracks and you're standing in the gas chamber where thousands of people were killed, it takes my words away. Like I don't really know what to say, and I don't and the feeling you get is just awful because you feel so terrible and you're sad, and it's just very overwhelming when it comes to being in the place where it all actually happened instead of just hearing about it from other people.
Yesterday, I found that the scenery compared to inside Dachau was very, very different. The outside had a very luscious and green, kind of homey environment where you could hear the water and chirping of birds. But as soon as you crossed through the gates, it wasn't as if it was a desert, but it was more of a just bland and gray area that was just a yard filled with stones. And that was mainly the environmental bit.
How did it make you feel?
In terms of feelings, it made me very claustrophobic, and it shouldn't, because it's a massive area that is very wide open. But even without people around you, it makes you feel like you're being surrounded and kind of pushed in. Yeah, it's very just chill.
Like just really experiencing it like firsthand, instead of learning it in a classroom and from a textbook, because you really learn it in a different and like better way when you like really see where it happened.
Really retracing those steps, seeing that firsthand, not through pictures, not through videos, but actually standing where others stood and died.
What parts of the camp will stick with you, do you think?
I think the like the incineration rooms and like the gas chambers, I think would definitely stick with me. But also like the sanitation rooms and things like that. I think the whole place will stick with me, but those places will definitely like remember more.
Yeah, the punishment rooms, all that, those pictures, and how unsanitary, how ruthless the guards were, and those bunkers that they had to stay in.
And how did it make you feel?
It was sad, but also you learn so much more than you would.
Kind of crazy just learning about other genocides and like comparing it to this one, where this is like the only one that I've personally learned of that's like a true like systematic
classified
like wipeout of an entire like race and religion, and like comparing it to other genocides, like it wasn't executed the way this one was, so it's like a lot more saddening in that way.